Vyas was just felt the necessity to present what he was feeling as the conclusion, and he did it in a brilliant way. So anyway, here Rishabh Dave says, one who cannot save other souls from the world of impending death, that is, one who cannot teach the path of devotion, he cannot be a teacher, not worthy of the designation. He cannot be a father. He is not qualified to beget a son. Cannot be a mother. She should not bear a child. He cannot be a god, a devata. The demigods who cannot deliver others from material bondage are not entitled to accept worship from the human society. And he cannot be a husband. His hand is not fit to accept in marriage. Sri Rishabh Dave. So, heavy but very clear that if you're going to go into a particular responsibility, then you have to, back it up with instruction in devotion. And it doesn't mean that everybody's going to think, oh, I'm not qualified, so I'm not going to do anything. But it means that everyone has to, take on their particular position according to their nature and necessity, and then from that particular position, give one's full effort to present devotion to his dependents. And because Krishna is not limited, because our gurus are not limited, that understanding will come through based on, not on your, necessarily your development in theoretical understanding or your development even in real developed devotion. If you just try, it will come through. For example, when you're teaching, if we just try, not to present what we've memorized, or though sometimes we do memorize stuff, but that's not the essence. The real essence is to present what you've experienced in transcendental, developmental life. You want to try to convey that and give that so that others will have a chance also to develop. And well may be that others who you're teaching, others who you're a husband to, others who you're a father or mother to, they may be more developed than you. But it doesn't matter. You can give them the stimulus to engage more and more fully in devotion. Make that again their life. Because with kids, sometimes I've seen they get they're just figuring out where they are. They've had accumulated devotional life from before, but bam, they're thrown into a womb, and it's all described. They come out, and it's just intense, bewildering situation. Especially it was for my son. He came out upside down and breathed in the fluids and was in an incubator for 2 weeks, and we were screaming Gayatri mantra to him and everything else. And so I imagine the intensity of that experience. So it takes a while to understand where we are, and it takes a while to get our balance in such a way so that we can, begin to return to our journey in devotional life. But the position of father, mother, teacher, guru, and here it says devata. Though even the demigods have responsibility, not to convey just boons, but they have to convey devotion in such a way so that people will grow in their devotional life. And, of course, that depends on the heart of the individual. They also grant boons for elevation based on the Vedas and so many things like that. But the bottom line is that they have to be prepared to encourage people to develop in devotional life. So, you know, even though we may not be qualified, still we have to try, and by that effort, you know, our gurus will come through and deliver the reality of the experience, and the kids will gradually wake up. The people who you're teaching to, or your disciples, will, you know, gradually come to full consciousness, or, you know, as much consciousness as they possibly can, based on their, you know, progress in Krishna consciousness from this life and previous lives, and, you know, so many things like that. Everybody's coming in different ways. Some people are just stumbling in for the first time. Some people have, you know, been here for many lives. It's true. I've seen it, and particularly in, you know, many of the children, it seems like as we, you know, progress, as time passes in the Krishna consciousness movement. Now, since Prabhupada came, 65 to 2018, what is that, 53 years, something like that. You know, it seems to me that the kids are getting more and more developed. You know, it's just, it's quite amazing. I think we have, you know, Devis and Devas that are coming down, who have developed devotional life and have come to get the chance to engage in the Sankirtan movement. I mean, it really seems like that, because some of these kids are just, you know, so clear and so simple and pure and, you know, natural devotees. It's just really inspiring. But nonetheless, we have to, you know, take the responsibility and convey the experience of Krishna consciousness based on our own experience, and that will stimulate them to awaken their Krishna consciousness and develop. Sometimes it takes 20 years or more for them to get balanced, and sometimes they'll, you know, experiment and do things that are not exactly in line with the rules and regulations of Krishna consciousness, but you know, we have to be the guide and the one who's encouraging them to develop in Krishna consciousness primarily. And I found that by allowing them, you know, Srila Prabhupada told us, 1 to 5 you give them everything, 5 to 15 you know, teach them strictly, and 15 on you their friend. So 15 on you give advice, but you let them do anything. You know, that's like, it must be like that. Otherwise, like most of us, will just, if the parents try to force things onto us, you have to be a doctor, you have to go to college. You know, it's just like, oh man, give me a break. You know, let me get the hell out of here. Which is, you know, what a lot of us did in the beginning in Krishna consciousness. We just, you know, escaped to a, you know, a life of searching, and, you know, finally came to the lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada by some kind of grace. Anyway, yeah, so that's, you know, my experience, and I think it's true, and it's what we were told. 15, you're their friend, you help them. And, you know, because they well may be, you know, far above you, and they may need to experience things based on their, you know, their own progress in devotional life. They may have to learn a heavy lesson to balance their approach to service in Krishna consciousness. You know, we all have to learn lessons, and we all experience these things, so we shouldn't be surprised if it happens to our kids, our disciples, you know, the people we're teaching. Everyone gets lessons, but that doesn't mean that there's a problem in the progress in Krishna consciousness. You know, we have to see like that. If a person is having trouble, it means he's getting blessed by Krishna. So we should, rather than think, oh, that person's off, you know, we used to think like that. That person has gone off, so we have to avoid him and this and that. But in Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Math, we've been given the vision to know, you know, everybody's sick. Don't be surprised if somebody's coughing. you know, or barfing or something. It's not like a big deal. We have to like always encourage everyone and realize that, you know, assume that this person is sincere and this person is just having to confront, you know, attachments and difficulties in surrendering. And Krishna's arranging things for him. And we encourage that spirit to come out in our God brothers and God sisters and in the new people who approach, who, you know, find difficulty in approaching. We like sympathize with them and assume their deep sincerity. And what will that do? That will inspire them. Oh, I have a friend. Let me, you know, push on in my Krishna consciousness in spite of all this huge waves that are coming. I'm trying to keep my head above water. It's so difficult. And someone is you know, pointing me towards the rope that our gurus have extended. And, you know, let me really try to go there in spite of the waves. This is like the, you know, the better thing to do in our relationships, and also with our kids. You know, if they have to go off and have boyfriends or girlfriends or, you know, whatever, it's not a big deal. The real thing is that they go to Krishna consciousness, make that their life, and find, you know, not just accept what we've given to them as reality, but, you know, go out, experience the world, find their own reality in Krishna consciousness. This is like necessary. Everybody has to come to their own conclusions, and we have to allow that. We have to encourage that for the natural development of Krishna consciousness. You know, this is my experience, and this is in line with the instructions of our gurus, no doubt. So we'll try the Sanskrit of Rishabh Dave. I wish I had a magnifying glass. Does anybody have a magnifying glass? No, I should have brought one. Maybe I did. I'll look for it. Okay, but I almost know this shloka. I've heard it so many times. Guru na sa shat, swajano na sa shat, pita na sa shat, janani na sa shat, devanam na tat shan, na patis cha sa sham, na mochayed ya sampeti mrityam. Wow. Ends with sampeti mrityam. It usually means death. It's not there in the translation.
It doesn't say. You started the verse with that.
Oh.
He who cannot save you from the dead and death.
Oh yeah, the world of impending death, yes. Okay. So it's just, that's the very first sentence in the translation, but it's the last sentence in the shloka. It's a lot of times it's like that. In English, the emphasis is given on the first, you know, the first sentence in a paragraph, but in Sanskrit, the emphasis is given on the last sentence in a shloka or a couplet. So it's just, it's done in the opposite way. So sometimes I'll look, when there's a statement like this, sampati mrityam, I'll look at the end and there's nothing there. But I should first look at the beginning because that's what it is. It's like the essence, when you in writing, when you introduce a thesis or a paper, first you give the you know, the problem that you're dealing with, and you hint at different possibilities of solutions. Sometimes you state, you know, what your conclusion will be, but generally you only indicate that, and then through the paper you develop the answer to the problems, and then finally you make a conclusion, telling your final solution to the problems based on the points that you've made throughout the paper. I was a writing tutor. I don't know if this is relevant or not, but I'm just talking about it. If anybody's writing, that's how you do it, you know. And so, but anyway, that's English. But Sanskrit is it's a different style. I can't remember exactly, but there's different types of meters that sound differently, and the combination of the words are also different, and the order of the words are also different, to bring out different types of is it rasas? Yeah, different feelings are conveyed in Sanskrit through the order of the words, the combination of the words, and what was the third one?
Meter.
The meter, yes, the sound. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, this sloka talks about death in the beginning in English, death in the end in Sanskrit. Both are emphasizing. Sri Rishabhasya, from Sri Rishabh Dave. Okay. Unfortunately, we have to move on. Seems like I'm just getting into it, and then I have to stop. Anyway, next is Kulashekar Maharaj, another amazing, you know, sloka from Kulashekar Maharaj. This one is a really long one. Madraksham Krishna Punyam Kshanam Api Bhavato Bhakti Hinam Padabjay. That's one line. Then there are three other lines. Kulashekar Maharaj. Guru Maharaj summarizes it. The resolve to reject everything unfavorable by means of all the senses. Let's see, senses. Anyway, we'll get into it tomorrow. Jai Shri Shri Prabhupada Jivanamritam Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Okay. Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswatamat Acharya Brinda Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswatamat Vaishnava Brinda Ki Jai. Vaishnava Brinda Ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Okay. Okay, this is a good one. We're getting into a nice thing. So, previously, Kaviraj Goswami is quoting Krishna, talking about he's not so happy with those who worship him on reverence, just Aishvarya. He's more interested in love and devotion. And now he's going to clarify that and give emphasis on that directly. So this shloka is number 19, chapter 4, Adi Lila. In whatever transcendental mellow my devotee worships me, I reciprocate with him. That is my natural behavior. So, inherent nature, the Lord reveals himself before his devotee according to their inherent devotional service. So that applies on all levels. You know, as we progress, gradually we see Krishna more and more, and finally, when we reach freedom from the illusory energy, gradually we get more and more attached to Krishna, and as we get attached, our transcendental form manifests according to our nature and according to, Krishna's will and desire. The Lord is more pleased when a devotee thinks of him with natural affection. The Lord becomes a subordinate object of love in such transcendental relationships. Such pure love of Godhead is unadulterated by any tinge of superfluous, non-devotional desires, and is not mixed with any sort of fruitive action or empiric philosophical speculation. It is pure and natural love of Godhead, spontaneously aroused in the absolute stage. Its devotional service is executed in a favorable atmosphere, freed from material affection. So, Srila Prabhupada, he's describing the transcendental realm, but at the same time he's qualifying it sentence after sentence after sentence, telling us this is a pure place. This is a place where everyone has no material attachment. This is real love that, has no material affection, over and over and over again. How can we think that we can have this before we're pure? We can feel something of the transcendental realm, no doubt, but it certainly isn't, bhava. It's like, dream on. It's not, it's not that. It's like we're getting a little experience of what it is to be spirit, and a little bit of what it is to hear the holy name. We shouldn't think that, I've got, so much, so I'm, pretty soon I'll be an Uttama Adhikari. Or, some people are thinking like that. It's really difficult to imagine having had, association with real Uttama Adhikaris. How can they think that they're going to become like that? It's just like, even when you're perfect, you're still in a low position. Of course, it may be that you're bowing down as an Uttama Adhikari, a pure Vaishnava, to your higher Uttama Adhikari. But, that journey before us is, we have to think a long and difficult road. And we have to be prepared for that. We have to, meet that and, dig in to our, foxhole and look at the guy next to me, how he's protecting my flank, and proceed, like when they go forward to check out the enemy lines, they crawl and they are really careful. So, that's Guru Maharaj gives those kinds of examples a lot, military examples. And I think Srila Prabhupada does too. I don't remember exactly where. But, we have to think like that, we are under assault. It's going on. That's one mentality. And then the other mentality that, helps to free us is that Krishna is our friend and he's slapping us so we don't put our hand in the fire. But, both things are naturally there in the development of devotional life. We have to feel like, this is not the real place. And, it's not only the feeling of the Kanishta Adhikari. Madhyama also must feel like that. Why? How do we know that? Because we know that the Uttama Adhikari, the real pure devotee, to understand and help the fallen souls, he has to leave the Uttama Adhikari platform and come into the Madhyama Adhikari platform, where he sees that there's so many problems. And he sees, that the material world is not a nice place. It's not a place for a gentleman. It really, sucks. It's a bad place. And so, we have to understand that also we have to view it like that. Like this is not our real home. We want to go to the real place. And then simultaneously understand that, Krishna is everywhere. He's helping me. This is our mood. And therefore, because we feel like that, like we read, not exactly so obviously, but in the songs of the great Vaishnavas, they're feeling so much, compassion for the fallen souls, and they themselves are feeling, based on their descent, they're feeling the suffering of the conditioned souls. You know, so they feel like, oh, this is so unfortunate. This is, you know, not a good place. I've been involved in this for so long. Please let me, you know, come to your service in purity. Okay, so number 20. And this is, everyone knows this sloka pretty much. Ye yata mam prapadyante tangs tataiva bhajamyaham mavavartman uvartante manusya partha sarvashaha. Sarvashaha, in all respects. In whatever way my devotees surrender unto me, I reward him accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects, O son of Pritha. Srila Prabhupada tells us, the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna affirms that formerly, some 120 million years before the battle of Kurukshetra, he explained the mystic philosophy of the Gita to the sun god. So, you know, Srila Prabhupada knows 120 million years ago it was explained. Like, you know, off the cuff, 120 million years, you know, no big deal. But for us, like 120 million years, thousands and tens of thousands of lifetimes. You know, but, you know, doesn't matter. It's the breath of Vishnu, don't worry about it. That's, you know, that's actually the vision, and that's actually what we're like coming to, because we hear it from the great devotees. Was that Mukunda who said, what was it? Mahaprabhu said, he will see me in 1,000,000 lifetimes, right? And Mukunda began to dance because he was so happy. I'll see Mahaprabhu, I'll see Mahaprabhu. And like 1,000,000 lifetimes. First thing I thought was, oh my God, 1,000,000 lifetimes. I can't handle it. But Mukunda is thinking, I'll see the Lord. He knows relative time. And he has perception of how it's passing. So he's not like concerned. Just that so ultimately he sees the Lord. That's the only concern. And because why? Because they live in the land that's beyond time. I think there was a movie like that, right? The land beyond time, and there's dinosaurs and all kinds of stuff there. So, you know, they have a sense of what this is. Everybody kind of feels it inside, but then they distort it based on their conditioning, and they, you know, everybody's got some notion of, not everybody, but a lot of people have some notion of an ideal world that they want to strive for, or some kind of, you know, paradise, fictional paradise, where, you know, everybody's together and there's peace and all these things. You know, it's natural, because that's the natural position of reality. That's the natural position of us. So everybody's like that, you know. And so, but what we've got is an understanding of the you know, the real dream, you know, the real ultimate reality, which, you know, finally is not a dream, but is, you know, all pervasive, beautiful, ecstatic. You know, every description of whatever you've done in this world that was really fun and really cool, it's there, you know, 1,000,000 times over. At least that's what's described to us, and we, you know, we accept that, we believe it. And, you know, even though we may still like to snowboard now and then, or surf, or you know, drive your car 100 miles an hour or something, you know, that's all right. We're dealing with the material world. But the idea is that those things that you experience, you know, it's just a glimpse. Make that an impetus to, you know, proceed towards the higher thing. And by that procession, by that progress, those other things that are so nice for us now will become, like, you know, not very significant, not a big deal. You don't have to, like, so much artificially pull away, but rather focus on development of devotion. And don't worry so much about your conditioning. That's like our mood and the type of development that has to come about based on our own individual impetus and desire. You know, personal free will. You know, to do this myself and, you know, really dig in and surrender and, you know, understand the position of the self right now in the material world. We're in a hopeless situation. As Guru Maharaj say, hopeless and helpless. You know, what does that mean? It just means we're totally dependent. And that's a good thing. But for us, we're stuck in the material world. It's, you know, hopeless, helpless. That's terrible. But actually it's good. So we know the Saraswati Thakur, his disciples who said they had nothing after 10 years. And Saraswati Thakur was pleased. So this is devotional life. You know, we get a taste of Krishna consciousness, how wonderful it is. We chant regularly according to the structure of our society, and we follow along with everybody else, and everything's great. And then suddenly it feels like there's nothing there. And, you know, some people think, oh, I just was distracted. It's not reality. You know, and other people think, well, I'm not, you know, inside the structure. I'm off. I have to go back into the structure and, you know, take shelter of those things. You know, be with devotees, chant, and do all these different things according to the rules and regulations. You know, but finally we have to really, you know, understand this is what's supposed to happen to me, because this is who we are. And, you know, based on that understanding, progress to the job at hand, the mission at hand, the internal mission at hand, which is to, you know, take apart the ego. And, you know, first of all, look at your false self and understand, you know, how you're taking shelter of so many different things based on your own necessities of illusion. And those safe things have to come down too. So, you know, for a while you feel like, you know, you're losing your, you know, your contact with the feeling of safety and balance. But you have to go through that. That's the stage of development that we're in. It's like, you know, we have wonderful kirtans. We experience amazing things when we hear the songs of the Vaishnavas. When we read Chaitanya Charitamrita, we're suddenly like in a different world. All these things come to us, but simultaneously, you know, achintya beda beda tattva, the mercy is rushing down by the grace of our gurus, but simultaneously, so much of it is bouncing off because of our, you know, of our ego. It's like, I forget the quotation, but something is there. If we just actually heard, really heard, allowed the vibration coming from Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj to come through and enter our hearts, you know, we'd be there. Each sloka has that kind of potency, but we're just not doing that because we're stuck, we're conditioned, and the wall in front of us is like impossible to climb. We're not gonna. You can't follow rules and regulations and get there. You know, by the grace and order of Guru, you try to do that, understanding that this whole thing is based on internal surrender. And everything that I do is in connection with that. My sadhana is there for my internal surrender to the Lord. My work duties in the day is there for my internal surrender to the Lord. My relationships with people is there for our internal surrender to the Lord. You know, that's the you know, reality of things. Surrender is the essence. Sharanagati. We have to, you know, learn like that. I mean, there's, in the back of my head somewhere, there's so many quotations, particularly from Srila Maharaj, about the necessity of surrender. Do you remember any quotes, Kesh? Anyway, there are many, and you know, surrender is the necessity now. Even though it appears impossible, we try, based on our faith that yes, my guru will help me. He'll pull me up the wall, or he'll blast away the mountain, or whatever the metaphor you want to use. Your guru's got the safe and happy way to you know, to become free. And it may be that we're seeing, you know, developing our sadhana by seeing how kind Krishna is to have put us in this situation. You know, that we can perceive like that based on the order of Sri Guru. Always remembering that the only reason, whatever I can perceive in relation to devotional service, in relation to the spiritual stream of existence that's coming to us, it's all dependent on Sri Guru. You know, the last sloka of Gurvastika, you know, what does it say? Do you remember it? Yes, tell it.
Yasya prasadad bhagavat prasad, this sloka.
Yeah, and then
Yasya prasadam nagati kutopi.
Yasya aprasad nagati kutopi. Without that mercy, nagati, you won't reach the destination. Sharana gati, the destination. Directly, you know, Chakravarti Thakur, you know, tells us this is what's going on. You know, if you don't have the mercy of Sri Guru, you're not going to reach the destination. So, you know, we must be totally conscious of our position, and, you know, ultimately it may be in relation with Krishna and Srimati Radharani, but that's really far away. You know, our really day-to-day, you know, functional position based on our, you know, our conditioning in the material world and whatever progress we've made in Krishna consciousness, all that is dependent. Any further forward movement is dependent on the grace of Sri Guru. It's like, you know, the wall is 1,000 feet high and we're like 25 feet up, and, you know, we're there on a ledge, and the only thing we can do is, you know, pray that our Guru will drop us a rope so that we can, you know, get up to the next ledge. You know, we can't, once having gone so far, you can't really go back. You know, we can sit there on the ledge and, you know, be stupid for a while, but eventually we have to push on. You know, this is our situation. If we leave Krishna consciousness, you know, after some time, after development of progress in Krishna consciousness, you're just going to come back to the same position. So we have to just, like, you know, wake up and realize our position and, you know, dig in, because now's the time to you know, dig in and make Krishna consciousness the basis of your existence. Work on that. In spite of the distractions of the mind, in spite of the distraction of the senses, you know, put it in your mind and from your intelligence and from your soul, make it your mission to, you know, give your life to Sri Guru. That's, you know, that's our ideal, but, you know, we have a long way to go. In that prayer that we sing in the morning to Sri Guru, yeah, what's the last line? I was going to say something about it. Pranana Rakibara? Yeah. So, my life, I can't have a life without the safety, the protection of Sri Guru. you know, I just can't. And that kind of expression is, you know, our ideal, but really it's way beyond us. I remember Srila Gurudev hearing this and, you know, expressing, you know, the idea that, well, they're singing this, it's a nice tune, but, you know, where's the actual pranana rakibo? Where's that? You know, and, you know, just like he said about, I always say this, but it's a good one, koti koti dandavat. I don't even get one dandavat. You know, he wants, Gurudev was so kind and open, yet at the same time he wanted the real thing from us. And he wasn't going to accept, you know, fake stuff. Like Prabhupada was very kind and accepted our kind of fake stuff in devotional life. You know, being leaders and so many things like that. He organized things and enabled us to progress, you know, engage our egos in developmental Krishna consciousness. This is his genius and his, you know, impossible ability to pull the souls out of the mud, or at least pull them forward, and, you know, give them Wellingtons and, you know, tell them to go to the other side, quit hanging around here. And, you know, that kind of, you know, power and determination and kindness and love, you know, impossible for, you know, an individual soul, but yet coming through Srila Prabhupada. The power of Nityananda Prabhu, as Srila Guru Maharaj saw. Shaktiavesh avatar of Nityananda Prabhu. This is, you know, Sri Lacy Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Okay, so my devotee worships me, accordingly I reciprocate with him. This is my natural behavior. This is like existence. It will go on forever. Now we're giving like 1%, and Srila Prabhupada told us Krishna is giving 10%. You know, 10 times what you're giving, he's giving back. This is like the what's going on. we're trying, and then if we just try a little bit, we'll get blessed, and we can, you know, move on to 2%. You know, that's, or, you know, progress from 2nd grade to 3rd grade or something. And, you know, forget about the dream that you're in postgraduate studies. You know, think about being in 3rd grade, you know, thinking you're more advanced than your teacher, and this happens. People study, Srila Prabhupada told us, people study Sanskrit or really learn all the books. Then they begin to think, oh, my guru is not quoting so many things. He's not quoting properly. His Sanskrit is not actually fully correct. It does happen. So, you know, we're not scholars. We're devotees. And we're not looking for scholarship from our gurus, even though they try to make that presentation as, you know, as perfect and complete as possible so that everyone will have a chance to enter into it in spite of their attachment to, you know, academic structure. The kindness of our guru is such that, you know, he'll even extend himself in that direction. But, you know, ultimately these guys are just so unwilling to surrender, they'll still find fault in it and think, oh, I have to do my own Bhagavatam, I have to do my own Chaitanya Charitamrita because this is not complete or something. You know, so these kinds of bogus people are around, and they're getting the like the perverted reflection of this Krishna's reciprocal relation. They're like surrendering their prana and their senses to the goal of academic progress, thinking that they're, you know, ultimately human society is going to figure everything out and everything's going to become like perfect. Like there's one friend who really thinks that they're going to make a machine that implants into the body so that we can live for 10,000 years. And, you know, I was thinking, if they do that, somebody's going to be in there and think, how do I get out of here? I'm stuck for 10,000 years. I mean, you know, why do that if you know that there's something else? The only reason you want to do that is that you don't know there's anything else and you think that's the solution. But you're just going to live 10,000 years of incompleteness. And you'll probably come to know it, you know, who knows when, right after you get the stupid thing implanted in your, wherever it goes, in your heart or whatever, you know. Who knows, you know? I mean, maybe the soul will just split and the thing will be just a machine. You know, so anyway, they think that's the direction. They're going to make things perfect. Gee, where did I hear that? We're going to make the master race and kill off everything else. Because why? It's very logical. You know, everything is just material. So who cares if there's millions of people that are lost if we can create a perfect society for the future of humanity? You know, it'll be perfect. It'll be a perfect world. So just, you know, kill off the lower people who are contaminating the gene pool. If you're an atheist, you know, why not? It's logical. And even today, there's this geneticists who are always pushing in that direction, trying to, you know, sneak in some developmental ideal that's going to like manipulate the genes to produce a particular type of body. You know, that's like, it's demoniac. Maybe they'll figure out how to do that, but who knows what the product is? Like Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. They don't know what the product's going to be. They don't care. They just want to feel like they're doing something that's, you know, really advanced and, you know, significant. And, you know, I'll get my name in the academic journals. And, you know, they're, you know, it's justified by the idea that, you know, there's really nothing and we have to put it all together so that everything becomes perfect for humanity or something like that. But, you know, it's a dream world. This is the material world. You know, there's fighting, there's all this suffering, everything is going on based on people's stupid misunderstanding. And these guys are the Brahmins. They're supposed to be leading. They're pulling everyone in the wrong direction. It's really like, you know, it's really a sad situation. You know, the Brahmins don't know anything. What is that saying? Follow a blind man and you both go into a ditch. Something like that. So, yeah, anyway, I've gone over. Okay, so next one, 21-22, two shlokas combined. It's Krishna speaking, Kaviraj Goswami quoting. Cherishes and loves me in pure devotion, thinks of me as his son, as his friend or beloved, regarding him as great and considering me his equal or inferior, I become subordinate to him. Krishna talks about Goloka Vrindavan and what the power of love and affection. You know, and really, if we think about it, we see the power of that love, even if it's distorted in this world. Practically everybody knows that there's an element of existence that has to do with deep feelings of affection, you know, for particular persons. Why does that happen? Nobody knows. But it really happens in this world. It's like 1/1,000,000th of what the real thing is. But this is all they've got. So they, you know, everybody goes for it. That's what, you know, everybody's working and doing this and doing that. They're professional basketball players. They're, you know, big billionaire businessmen. They're the president of the United States. They're the prime minister of the Ukraine. You know, but ultimately they want to go home and to their loved ones. And that's just natural. So we want to go home to our beloved. And imagine having a bunch of friends who are all completely, loving the Lord, so much so that the Lord's just, carrying you on his shoulders. I mean, we can think about that, the possibility of that. But we can't be an illusion to think that we can begin to experience that. We can sense something to it, but that's not our aim at this stage. Our aim is to feel devotion, full devotion and surrender to Sri Guru, and through him to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and the chanting of the holy name, and by that we're told, poof, one day we'll be in Goloka Vrindavan. We'll be purified by the grace of Mahaprabhu, and maybe spend some time spreading the Sankirtan movement, millions of lifetimes or something, and then eventually poof, back to the spiritual world. But in the meantime, here we are, and we've got a battle on our hands, and to focus the consciousness on that realization and that reality is our necessity now. So as we feel that necessity, the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita comes, the mercy of Prapana Jivanamrita comes, the mercy of all the kirtan songs of our great gurus comes to us, the mercy of the Archa Vigraha, the descended deity, the mercy of the line of gurus, being able to say their names. There's one song like that, to say the names of the Vaishnavas, right? Yeah. So, we get to do that. Jayam Vishnupad, all the way, all the way through, all the way back to, Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath, Shama Kunda, Radha Kunda, Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Okay. Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Rakhak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat Acharya Brinda Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat Vaishnava Brinda Ki Jai. All the world Vaishnava Brinda Ki Jai. All the universe Vaishnava Brinda Ki Jai. All Goloka Vrindavan Vaishnava Brinda Ki Jai. Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Okay, that's the one day. It's done for today. Okay.
We'll do it then. This is a good time to do it because then it's in the class.
Okay.
One more later.
No. Okay. Okay, so Hari Haraya.
Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Gopal Govinda Ram Shrimad Sudan. Gopal Govinda Ram Shrimad Sudan. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra. Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra. Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Rupa Sanatan